Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Ache. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you can't relate, that is totally okay. You can check out past episodes or catch new ones every other Sunday. And who knows, maybe you can relate. I'm back! Season 2, baby! Let's go! I've missed you so much. You don't even understand. And you know what? I know I have a lot of new listeners because I've been checking my analytics. And despite not posting for a whole month, I've still been getting a lot of traction to the podcast. So, to all the newbies, I just want to say welcome. I hope you enjoy the show enough to want to stick around and see it grow into so much more. So, let's get right into it. So much has happened since my last episode and now. I'm a little bit more disorganized than I'd like to be, but I'm working on it. And obviously, school started back up in January, and it has been go, go, go ever since I got back from Cuba. Also, what was in the air during January? Why did it feel so long? Every time I looked at the calendar, I kept saying to myself, damn, it's not the 20th yet? Like, what is going on here? Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I kind of love how long it felt, and I'm hoping that the rest of the year kind of feels the same way because it feels like I have more time to do whatever needs to get done. And honestly, time is something I value a lot in my life, so I'm glad it feels like I have more of it. And I also don't like feeling rushed, so that helps as well. I used to hate when the months would feel so short and that it's going so fast because then I would feel like I didn't do enough or I didn't have time to do the things that I wanted to do or needed to do. But let me tell you about January 2025, okay? I did a lot. Okay, so boom, we get back from Cuba on December 30th, okay? Back in 2024, that old year that just passed. Me and my sister, we get home, clean up the whole house for my mom's arrival a few days later. We pick up the dogs, and then the 31st, boom, I went to work. I finished at 5. Then I went to church, kind of. It was more like a Christian concert for New Year's. And then, that was a great time. There was a sermon at the end, and I am so sorry, with all due respect. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. I'm sorry. I really mean it. No disrespect. It was not the word that I wanted to start the year with. And I actually don't even really remember what the word was about because I walked out midway, or maybe earlier than midway. I don't even remember. I do remember it was just not making any sense to me. But honestly, the music from all the artists that performed, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I was really in it. I was like, this is good. And I'm not one to really listen to gospel as much as I would like. I feel like I've definitely tapped in more last year, and I started really getting into a good rhythm of finding the songs that I do actually like. And some of these artists put me on. They put me on. I was like, oh, what song is that? What song is that? Let me know. And mind you, this is my first time spending New Year's Eve in an environment like this. New Year's Eve is probably like top 3 of my favorite holidays of the year. Growing up, I was taught that New Year's should always be spent with family and loved ones. Like, that was the rule. It's a celebration of new beginnings, a fresh start, new adventures, a new journey, all the things. And that, honestly, it hasn't changed. I went to the Christian concert with Dammy, and she's basically my sister. So yeah, friends, loved ones, family, that's what it was. But let me tell you about the surreal experience I had during the countdown, okay? For context, In one of my last episode, I think it was the one about turning 26, I talked about the fact that I was very scared to turn 26 because I didn't want the stagnant, boring, lonely cycle that I was in to continue. And I was scared because I didn't know what else to do to stop this cycle. And I had such a shitty birthday, and a big reason for that was my heart posture, lack of faith, anxiety, self doubt, all of that. But I noticed that things started to take a shift right after my birthday. It was weird. Like, I was invited to be a guest on Return of the Mac podcast. Shout out Duke for inviting me and having me. It was truly an honor. And I'm so happy with how it turned out, honestly. Like, I was really nervous about it because it was something very new to me. I also didn't know anyone there like that. Like, I've probably met everyone there once. The other guest that was on the show, Gabby, I had never met her before. So I was like, I hope that we all click and that the vibes are not off, because that would be so embarrassing for me. But that was not the case at all. The vibe was great. The energy was great. The episode was great. I looked great. And I'm going to link that in the caption if you haven't already watched it, because it was a great episode. Then, after that happened, I went to Cuba for my mom's wedding. Dang, 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 dang. And then I went for Christmas. I was still there for Christmas. And it was just a very nice and wholesome and beautiful time. If you know me, you know how much I love my family back in Cuba. I love them, and I miss them so much. And Cuba is literally my second home for real, so it's always great being back there. And despite how good I felt coming back, I was still very anxious and fearful for the new year. So back to the Christian concert, boom, the countdown is happening. 10, 9, 8, 7. I zone out. Literally, it felt like I was in a movie. I zone out, everything's in slow-mo, and all I can hear in my head was, this is gonna be a great year. And that I had nothing to worry about. And I promise you, as soon as the clock hit 12, it was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. Like, it was, I can't explain it. Like, it just felt like a release. I don't know. It was a crazy moment. And in that moment, I truly believed that, and I felt that it was going to be an amazing year. And then I cried a little because, you know me, I be a little emotional or whatever. But besides the point, after that, life's been good. Like, I genuinely cannot complain. And the only thing that's really changed in my day to day in my life right now is my attitude towards everything. Like, I barely complain about work anymore. And if you know, you know, okay? And I've had maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 sad bummy days this month. Well, not this month, January, which is huge, by the way. I usually have at least a week worth every month where I feel like that. And I just feel so hopeful. For the first time, I actually feel grateful without adding the word but to the end of it. For example, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know how much I do not like my job. And I would always say that I'm grateful for my job, and I am. But when I used to say it, I would say, okay, I'm grateful for my job, but I hate being here. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to get out of this place. It drains me. I feel awful working here, blah, 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 blah. But now I'm just like, okay, I'm very grateful for my job, and I wouldn't be able to pay my bills without it. That's it, just like that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I love my job now, because I would be lying, but I am extremely grateful for it. And it's flexible with my schooling, and I know it is temporary. So I'm not concerned about it anymore. I just go in, go out, and that's it. There's nothing else I can do. I mean, I am still applying to different jobs. But anyway, in other news, I also had a photo shoot in January at, I think it's monography or monography. I don't know. One of the two. And that went really, really, really well. The quality of the pictures are phenomenal. And if you don't know about them, it's basically a studio that gives you 30 minutes to take as many pictures as you want. And you go into a room and there's a camera, there's a screen, and they give you a clicker and the world is yours. Okay. I used those pictures for the new logo, which I hope you guys love it. Because I do. I really like it. I thought it was time to put a face to the podcast, despite it being an audio podcast for now. You know, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So now at least you know what I look like, or you could just follow me on Instagram. But yeah, what else? Okay, so obviously school is happening. That's taking up a lot of my time alongside with work. And like I said, nothing's really changed per se, but I just feel different and better. In terms of my journey with Christ, because that was something I have talked about on the podcast before, it has been much better, but I could still be better. I feel like in my last week of January, I was being heavily tested. The theme of forgiveness was and is still very huge and prominent in my life, and I didn't know how to go about it, and truthfully, I still don't. I will not actively hold on to a grudge, but my body will physically feel the grudge, if that makes sense. Like, for example, if I get into an argument with someone or some disagreement or whatever, and then we talk about it, we're cool after. And it's like my words and my actions towards the person is fine because I know in my head that we're cool. But deep down inside, in my body, I'm feeling resentment or anger or sadness or confusion. And these conflicting emotions stress me out because I don't want my body to hold on to all that stress, but I also don't know what to do about it. So forgiving people has been hard, and I'll definitely make an episode about it because it's like a really big part of what's going on right now. So yeah. And oh my gosh. I know I never talk about pop culture on this podcast because I have no business doing that, but can we just please take a moment to appreciate the masterpiece of an album that Bad Bunny dropped in the beginning of the year? I haven't really been able to listen to any other music since it dropped. That album was almost too good. I haven't loved an album like this in a really, 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 really long time. It really is my album of the year, and probably the album of the year. And honestly, I doubt that there will be another album that comes out that's going to be this good, in my opinion. For the next few years, actually. But we'll see, who knows. Ooh, also a little vulnerable moment. Another thing that happened this month, the January, was when the album dropped. I started to randomly get in my head and I started to develop imposter syndrome towards my Hispanic side, which I hate that. And it's weird because I felt this super heavy before in high school and a little bit after that, but then I kind of suppressed it, or I thought I got over it, And now I feel like it's coming back up, and I'm trying to ignore it because this feeling sucks, obviously. But I don't know why it's so hard and why I care so much more about it right now. But now that I'm saying it out loud, I do also think it has to do with the fact that my brain is trying to find something to complain about. Like I said in the beginning, I'm good. Like, January was a great month. It was the first time I didn't go to the hospital. I have been in this weird cycle of every January I find myself in the hospital. Couldn't tell you why. It's been like that for years. But this was the first time in a long time where I did what I had to do and I did not find myself in the hospital. And at first it felt really weird and I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, but then I started to feel comfortable in it, in his goodness. And I think psychologically, my brain is still having a hard time being comfortable in this new reality because I've always had something to complain about, or at least I thought I did. And I was always sad or annoyed or upset about something. And I had so many down days in between the good ones, but things are different now. I I don't know. But you don't got to worry about me, okay? I'm still in therapy, so I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, me and my therapist, and I'll keep you posted, I guess. Oh, and how can I forget? There's one more big thing that happened in January. I had a financial intervention with my cousins and my older sister. They broke me down, okay? They broke down all of my finances and a little bit emotionally. But they helped me get right back up. They helped build me up. Okay, I don't know if I've talked about it before. I probably have, but I'm in debt and I'm just going to be transparent. My finances are not doing so well. And as someone who wants to travel as much as possible, I need to get my money up and my finances in order. And let me tell you, that in itself was such an eye opening experience for me because I was never taught anything about money. And I always thought that my issue was that I just didn't make enough. But that's not necessarily the case. I just need to start living within my means and saving money. Like, I'm not afraid to say it and I'm not embarrassed to say it because I know there's other people out there in my situation or worse, but I don't have a savings account. And in case of an emergency, God forbid, that is not okay. I need to have money somewhere else, you know? So shout out to my sister and Ashley for helping me out because only God knows how much I needed that. And thank you for giving me the encouragement I needed to feel better about where I'm at and where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. So please, everyone, teach the kids how to save their money while they're young. All right? Because now, this year, I'm going to have to sacrifice going to certain events and doing certain things because now I know where my money needs to go. But it'll be worth it at the end of the day because my debt is not the worst. And this is only going to prepare me for when more money arrives into my life. So I'm excited to rebuild. All in all, I feel like this year is going to be special, not only for myself, but for a lot of people. I'm noticing that many people are trying new things, traveling more, putting more time and effort into their dreams and goals and going out more and dating and just really experiencing life. And I think it's beautiful and it gets me excited for the endless opportunities that I feel like I'm going to have this year. And now, in terms of the podcast, okay, if you've been wondering, I'm still not in a place to go from audio to video yet. I know a lot of people have been asking me about that, but the schedule will stay the same every other Sunday. I plan on being more present on social media soon. I'm just trying to get over the hump of getting started, but yeah, that's coming soon. And I'm still waiting on you to make your own episode. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the caption and the info will be there. But you can literally host your own episode. I really want to bring as many voices to the show as I can so that less people can feel alone. So yeah, I'm excited to be back and I'm looking forward to spending another year with you. In the meantime, make sure to catch up on old episodes because season 1 still deserves to be heard. It was a great season considering it was my first time podcasting. I think I did fantastic. And don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, download, and most importantly, share. And who knows, maybe you can relate.